Mel was all like, "Oh, it's perfect. Don't ruin it for me by criticizing it." And I was like, "Okay, terrible pacing, obvious plot twist, and just plot is just like everywhere, and doesn't know what it wants to focus on."
Here comes our review of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Hello everybody and welcome to Working Title Productions. My name's Ben, his name's Ed, and we're here to bring you another episode of Movie Talk. Apologies for not bringing one last week. We've had a lot of technical issues here trying to figure out how to upload stuff. Not trying to figure out how to upload. We know how to do that. There's been difficulties making that happen. We apologise for that. The video we had prepared for last week will come out next week. And for now, you get to see Fantastic Beasts while it's relevant and hot, and we're going to talk about it right now. For those of you that don't know somehow, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the spin-off film of the Harry Potter franchise. This takes place in the same universe, but whereas Harry Potter takes place largely in England, this takes place in the United States. Harry Potter takes place with Harry Potter in modern day. This takes place in the 1920s. Straight off the bat, those are the key differences. This time around, we're following a man named Newt Scamander?
Newt Scamander.
There's a lot of weird names in this movie. Newt Scamander.
Full name, Newton.
Newton Scamander. Played by Academy Award winner Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
He won an Academy Award.
He did. You know what
about that?
Yeah.
Theory of Everything.
Theory of Everything.
Which I still haven't seen. I saw like no movies last year. I'm pretty sure I didn't see
That's what happens when you do your final exams for high school.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see a single Best Picture nominee.
I did.
Actually, I probably did at some point, but
you know,
could I tell you which Best Picture nominee that was?
We can do this.
No.
We can do this next time.
Yeah.
Not even next time. We'll do this off camera.
Hopefully, I will have seen most of this.
Yeah. Eddie Redmayne plays Newton Scamander, and straight off the bat, I'd just like to say that Eddie Redmayne really is a standout in this film. He does a wonderful job. He really brings the character to life. There's really a certain kind of dorky charisma about him that's very, very endearing, and it's a lot of fun to witness and be a part of. I feel like there's really only one character in this film that actually trumps him. One actor who trumps Eddie Redmayne in this film. Ed, I feel like you'd agree with me. You want to say
yeah, for sure. I was probably the first hour and a half of the movie. I was kind of like, I don't really get Eddie Redmayne's performance and the character in general. I wasn't quite sure about it. I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like it's good, but like I found parts of it weird. But then I realized, hang on, it's kind of supposed to be like that because he is the outsider. And then once that clicked with me, he's playing the outsider. Then and I was like, oh wait, he's actually fantastic. And yeah, so
fantastic.
Yeah,
like the beasts. And Where to Find Them.
Yeah,
puns.
Which is named after an actual Hogwarts textbook written by Newt Scamander. Yeah. Which J.K. Rowling actually wrote and released, like the actual.
Oh, did she actually write the textbook and release it? That is so cool.
Yeah, for charity. Yeah.
Wow.
And then later on, she released the screenplay for this actual movie.
Wow.
See?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Great universe tying. Rowling, great job.
GG.
While we're on J.K. Rowling, she does do a reasonably good job writing this screenplay. David Yates directs it again, that duo who have been doing the last, four Harry Potter movies? Yeah. They've come back to do Fantastic Beasts, and they will continue to do the next 4 sequels to Fantastic Beasts. This movie's already got 5 sequels in the pipeline. It's only just come out. These were in the pipeline before it came out. It's crazy.
2 of them are release dates.
There you go.
We have 2018 and 2020 for the next 2, apparently.
Cool. The problem, though, is that this screenplay by J.K. Rowling is... You know what? I figured out what it was that I didn't like about this movie. Brace yourselves, Harry Potter fans. We didn't like a lot of things about this movie. Okay,
I wouldn't say a lot of things about this movie. I'd say but there are like major problems with the movie that stop it from being like that make 2 like non-Harry Potter fans kind of it doesn't win us over basically.
Yeah. So first things first, this screenplay is kind of a little all over the place. It's trying to set up a lot of things. The direction by David Yates, certainly at the start, is very, very poor. It kind of narrows in towards the end. It gets much better in the third act, but still kind of not really sure what he was doing a lot of the time. His direction was very unclear. And the story as a whole, while interesting, is just kind of everywhere. And there's a lot of different subplots happening, and you're supposed to try and follow all of them, but none of them move at a particularly great pace. The pacing in this movie is quite poor as well. And what I feel like that comes down to is that this movie is trying to do some universe building for the rest of the franchise, because the last Harry Potter movie tied up so many loose ends. This one had to create some to kickstart the franchise again. And it almost feels like it got too bogged down doing that. This entire movie just kind of feels like a first act, almost. Would you agree?
Yeah, in some ways. And but I think it's more the fact that the movie wants to try and have like 4 different plots as well. And then they hurriedly, haphazardly try to bring them all together for the final act. And it's just really, really frustrating because, like, I mean, maybe it's not 4 plots. I'm thinking it's definitely at least 2 with...
Well, there's finding the beasts.
And then the one that's kind of a spoiler that we can't really talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it is 3, actually, because 2 of them, the 2 that are spoilers, are brought together about halfway through, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about 3 different plots. And, like, really this movie, like, it's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but it should be about the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them in New York.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the story they told, necessarily. But when the name is called Fantastic Beasts and then the story you get isn't quite what you thought it was going to be, something like, there is a lot going on here.
Yeah,
and it is kind of hard to bring that into focus.
Yeah, and what the plot ends up being by the final act, like, Newt Scamander should have no part in it whatsoever. He's not even related to it.
Definitely.
At all. It's got nothing to do with him.
You're right. If he had left, it pretty much goes down the same way.
Apart from, like, the one particular bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We can't talk about
but
that
even then,
spoilers.
But yeah, even with that, like, it's just, and like, it kind of, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I agree, in some ways, he is kind of related to it because of the Sedan story.
Yep.
But like, and that's not a spoiler. Kind of is, but we didn't talk about it in enough detail for it to be a spoiler.
No.
You'll understand when you get in the movie. But like, apart from that, like, is Scamander really the dude that you want dealing with this?
Probably not.
Yeah, not really.
It's not his expertise.
Yeah, so...
This thing doesn't know... The centre of this plot does not have any relation to him at all, and he's just kind of there. He just sort of... A lot of the third act doesn't rely on Newt Scamander, who's supposed to be the lead role of the story. It's just kind of not. And that is really just a prime example of the lack of clarity and the lack of direction that this film has. There's
so much plot convenience as well. Like, so much plot convenience.
I feel like no more so than any other big budget movie.
Yeah, that's true, but
because there's a lot of that in Civil War. There's a lot of that in Deadpool.
That's true.
There's a lot of that in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but like even things where you have, and sure, wizards are extraordinary people, but you have, like, humans doing things that are just absolutely ridiculous. And then in the final act, a bunch of the beasts get new powers that had not been explained previously, and just deal with some very complicated things very conveniently.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. My one problem with your argument, jokes, it's not even your argument, is that going to come up on the microphone?
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god!
It's fine.
We are so moving movie talk to my place.
It's fine.
Okay. Look, that said, there is a lot of fun to be had in this movie. Even though you can kind of tell it's being bogged down in doing that world building, the world building is there, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to get the flavour of that Harry Potter universe back, and you can experience that very well. But then it's appropriated to be part of the United States very well, to go back and be part in the 1920s is really, really interesting. And I feel like the story that they're setting up for the future films is a really great story to tell. And it deals a lot with magic history, and this whole idea of how the Wizarding World sort of became the underground thing that it was. I'm really looking forward to that. For those of you that don't know, this isn't a spoiler. They announced this publicly for the world. Johnny Depp has been cast as Grindelwald for the sequel. There are flavours of that in this movie as well. You certainly get hints of what's to come. And it is a really exciting story that I feel like is coming, but you don't get that story here. And this story is literally... It's alright. I've done this to you many times. This story isn't that story. This story isn't one of political intrigue, of civil war in the Wizarding World, of whether or not they should be a secret society or out in public and facing the rest of us muggles, aka no mages, aka whatever we're called in whatever country we're in. That story doesn't happen here. This story is just a convenient little story that they needed to make a platform to tell the rest of this franchise. And unfortunately comes across very obviously. That is the one key problem with this movie. If you can put that aside, this movie is a lot of fun. This movie has some great characters in it. Even if they are very stereotypical, they're still fun. They're still great to be around.
Apart from that one small group of characters who just like, whenever they're on screen, I'm just like, okay. A couple of things from that big spiel that I want to say. First of all, you say that like America is like a fresh change. You said something like that. Or something to do about America and the change in setting.
It's a new environment. Yeah.
America doesn't feel different from England. And
actually, you're right, it doesn't.
And American wizards and witches don't feel different from British wizards and wizards.
That is a good point. Actually, I need to bring this up. There were a couple of support characters in this movie. I actually forgot they weren't British. Like, I heard them say one line, I was like, oh yeah, you're an American. Oh. Like, yeah, we're in New York.
Like, characters like Colin Farrell. Like, obviously Americans do a great job of being American, but then, like, characters like Tina and her sister, they could be British or American, and
it doesn't
be able
matter.
to tell them. So, like,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and in New York itself, it's used in some cool ways. A couple of cool ways, actually.
It is hard to do 1920s New York, considering it doesn't exist anymore.
Because we get Empire State and Grand Central Zoo.
Yeah.
Which are both really cool, but aside from that, it may as well just be any city in the world. And what else was I going to say? There was something about...
Do you mind if I say something while
Oh, no, I've got it. And from the little we do see of Grindelwald, he already feels like a better villain than Voldemort. I'm gonna put that out there. Because I don't know how you feel about Grindelwald as a villain. I mean, about Voldemort as a villain, but, like, Voldemort's kind of like...
For me, Voldemort was always a vehicle to tell Harry's story.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Yeah. But, you know, he's evil because he wants to be evil. Yeah. There's a little bit of, like, racial undertones involved, but they never really explore it. For me, yeah, I agree. Grindelwald shapes up, and we haven't really seen much of him. He does appear in this movie. We won't tell you to what extent. From what I've seen already, he seems like a far more intriguing villain, because in his own eyes, he's not the villain. Already, that instantly just sort of puts him up a peg or two, and it's like, this guy has a far more interesting story to tell. There's a lot more going on here. There's conflict inside his own head. He creates conflict for other people, and it's really interesting.
And obviously, Harry Potter fans will know that he is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And very important to the history of the Harry Potter world.
Yeah, definitely. One character who I really want to talk about this before I forget, Colin Farrell does a great job in this movie. He's actually probably my favourite in the whole film, even though we don't really get to see a lot of him until towards the end.
Yeah, that was weird. I feel like he should have been in the movie way more. He was absolutely captivating on screen. Definitely. Like, he was awesome.
We don't, unfortunately, get a lot of him, but the time he's there, he does an amazing job. Absolutely amazing. Ezra Miller plays a character called Credence in this film. Without going into too much detail about how involved his character is, Ezra Miller does a great job. I really, really liked his performance. I've seen him do the confident dorky before. I'm seeing him do the nerdy dorky in trailers for Justice League. he does this really fragile character in this film, and it's kind of great to see. He's got this incredible range, and he just continues to show off his talent as an actor, and I really want him to get more work, so yay for you, Ezra Miller, and you too, Colin Farrell, you were the best.
I found...
Sorry, Eddie Redmayne. You were still good.
Credence to be kind of poorly written most of the
Oh,
time.
no, yeah, definitely. But Ezra Miller does the best with the character.
As was that whole family. But, yeah, Miller made it work.
He really does.
For the most part, yeah. It was a shame that you didn't really feel invested in that whole part of the plot.
Yeah. That whole extra plot.
Yeah.
There aren't subplots in this movie. There are multiple plots. And they kind of come together towards the end, but they don't. Yeah. That's really the biggest draw card, and that's what I keep coming back to. There's just so many different things happening in this movie that are completely unrelated to each other. I feel like a tighter story and a little more demonstration of the world we're in. Because if you're going to build a world, really distinguish it from your previous films, that didn't quite happen, and they didn't quite tell a clear, concise story either. So what we're left with is sprinkles of the Harry Potter magic from the previous Harry Potter films, with this really cool premise going into future movies, but not really a lot to rewatch here in this film.
Also, you'll pick the main third act plot twist about 2 shots into this film. It's shockingly
it's really obvious.
It's
we're not even
obvious.
We're not even big Harry Potter fans, and we picked it up straight away. It's like, this is what's going to happen.
Like, it was actually awful, but that's it. Anyway,
look, the film is still good. Harry Potter fans, if you are a Harry Potter fan,
you've
already made up your mind. You're going to this movie. You're going to love it, much like our friend Mel did. If you're not the biggest Harry Potter fan, this is probably still worth seeing, because it is a fun time to get back into this world of magic and to just be there with these characters who have fun. It's so refreshingly different. Even though the last Harry Potter movie was only 5 years ago, the last 5 years have been flooded with monster movies, disaster movies, and comic book movies. So to get back to a world of magic, which is a little more lighthearted and fun, is refreshing. You'll enjoy that. I recommend you go see this movie. It's not the greatest summer film of the year. It's not the greatest film of the year by any means, but it's a fun time. You'll still enjoy it. Go out there, have a great time with it.
We didn't even talk about the beasts.
Oh yeah,
the beasts were great.
The beasts are great, but they're barely in the movie.
Yeah,
and they're not important to the plot either.
Yeah, but the ones you do,
they're just the draw card of the name. It's a marketing scam.
But the ones you do get to spend time they are very, very clever and have like lots of really cool little nuances, and the way Eddie Redmayne plays off those is really, really cool. They're highlights of the movie for sure. Shout out to the Rhino scene.
Shout out to the Rhino
Which
scene.
is better than the Rhino scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Hey, like them references.
It was great. See, we do like Harry Potter more than some comic book movies, the bad ones.
So yeah.
Go see Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, you can subscribe below and you can check out more. If you're already subscribed, we'd greatly appreciate that. We'd also appreciate it if you could share and like our videos. Comment below, let us know what you thought about the film. You can also tweet us. I'm at BenchWaters01. He's at Edward Nowak. We also have a Facebook page you can follow, www.facebook.com/workingtitleYouTube. You look like you're about to say something.
No. I actually wasn't. I just had my mouth open for the lulz.
You ruined my outro, Ed. Nah, it's fine. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We can't wait to chat to you about this movie, and we apologise again for not having a video last week. That will come out next week, and we greatly appreciate your patience on that. Until next time, guys, thank you, and have a good one. Why?